Hey guys, I'm Jordi, and
I'm Josh.
and you're listening to Put One Repeat.
So,
It's been a little while since we've had a little video come out. We're older and wiser now. Couple more gray hairs.
God, I keep finding
People
them
have
on my
been married
head.
off.
It's crazy. I feel so old.
It is for real though, fucking real. Um, but yeah, Josh, you want to tell us what we're doing today?
So, spoiler based on what's on the screen right now. I got to enter a tournament and did pretty good. Got third
I know
overall.
you, dude.
I think it was second in Swiss once it gets down to. It was eighth in Swiss overall, and then second out of the top four. But yeah, it was a 60-person exactly tournament over in Tampa, Florida, hosted by our good friends Big Guava Gamers. Shout out to Maui King and Frank the Wizard. But it was a really good time. So we're going to do a little tournament recap where I'm going to talk about our games and how they went and whoops, nope, that's still fine. And how everything went. That's about it. So,
Dude, I'm so happy that you were finally able to get out to a tournament because you literally have not been at a tournament in months. Like, it might be over a year, right?
I think
It was
the
kind
last
of like
one,
crazy. I'm so happy you were able to get out.
the last one I got to play was like one of our tournaments, and it was like a 16-person one because attendance was low and we didn't want three pods.
Yeah,
But this is like the first
definitely a
tournament
big
that
jump,
had,
like playing a 60 player.
yeah, this is the first tournament I played that didn't have like sub 20 people in quite a while. But yeah, to kind of jump into it, the deck I chose obviously was Ral. Something I kind of agonized
And
over.
I know that you were kind of struggling
Yeah.
with it, right?
Yeah,
You
it
were
was
struggling with what deck to go with. I know you're in between a couple different decks, right?
It was tough. The three decks I was choosing between were Ral, Blue Farm, and Glarb. Glarb recently has been kind of annoying for me. It's not a bad deck. It's very frustrating to be in positions where like you identify your windows and your deck literally just can't do what you need it to do to be able to win, even if you draw a lot of cards. So Valley Flood Caller combo in particular is something that like you can't do the knack unless you've already had the Flood Caller, and that doesn't help you if you like have a one-turn window, right? So Glarb was kind of annoying me. I didn't really want to play it. I had been performing a little worse recently. And then Blue Farm, as Jordi is well aware, I copied his list, and I think I had like a 70% win rate over like a month and a half, 2 months, just in casual games. But the
I told you, man, that list is perfected.
it's really good, and
It's
it's hard to deny Blue Farm being as good as it is. It's just really boring to me. Too handholdy. So with that said, Ral was the other deck that I have easily put together that I performed pretty well with. So it's pretty slam dunk as far as the decision goes, even though I made that decision like 2 days before the tournament. So yeah, here's the list. Pretty typical stuff. It's almost a carbon copy of Blake's list, but a couple little changes, mostly because I didn't have a couple of the cards. One of the changes was instead of Shatter Skull Smashing, I'm playing the land destruction spell, Sundering Eruption. I just didn't have Shatter Skull Smashing, and I hate Cradle, so this one.
Yeah, it's definitely one that's like pretty good. We talked about it a little bit, and I was saying that like Ral just doesn't ever want to see lands.
Yeah.
So whatever you can get rid of, like whatever lands you can get rid of, you really want to do that.
Yeah. The other big one is I'm playing Runaway Steamkin. He is not. I'm not sure exactly what I cut for it. I could try and find his list and do a compare really quick, but I know he's not on Steamkin. I just threw it in because I had an empty slot. And then the other one was Quiet Speculation. It's like a 20-cent card, and I could not find it for the life of me. All it is one in a blue. Put 3 cards, or search target player's library for 3 cards with flashback and put them in the graveyard. I couldn't find it. So instead, I'm playing the budget option replacement of Intuition.
Which I think is crazy that Blakey doesn't play that card, because it's so good for the deck.
I mean, we'll get into it for some of the rounds, but I think I saw it in 3 out of 5 of my games. All 3 of them, it was relevant. One of those relevant things being kind
all
of...
All 3 of them, they were cracked, right?
2 of them were cracked. One of them was a joke, because I was, like, chain intuitioning into a Tyam that kept putting all the stuff back in my hand to, like, You know what Pulse Mage had? We'll get into it later. It was a meme.
All right.
And then...
Also, if you want to do it real quick, I sent you Blakey's list.
Oh, sure.
I would just do a quick comparison through Discord and kind of see the differences. For the people that don't know who Blakey is, he's like a premier RAL pilot. He's like topped every like SCG con he's played with the deck, right?
Yeah, he's been doing really good. 19th
yeah, he's really good with the list.
The open though. Oh, this was the other change, yeah. So yeah, Intuition for Quiet Speculation, Steamkin for Glimpse the Impossible. I don't like Glimpse the Impossible. It's good, but I wasn't a fan. This swap was just because I didn't have it, and then I actually talked to Blake about this, but cutting a blue fetch for Spire Bluff Canal, the deck rarely gets to 3 lands anyways, so to me it felt good to just have another dual land that I don't have to fetch with. You're already on like 4 total fetchables anyways, and one of them enters tapped, so I kind of liked bumping this up. But it's marginal. It doesn't actually matter that much.
Is there anything from your changes that you would keep? Anything from his changes that you would want to bring in?
I like all 4 of these cards, and the only one I would want is Quiet Speculation. But I would probably just find a cut from somewhere else. Like, not one of the draw 2s, those are too good, but Inspired Tinkering is kind of just expensive. Bonus round is kind of win more. And everything
we talked about Luring Reveal.
Yeah.
As an option, is that something you were thinking about?
I do think I want Lorien revealed. I'm not sure what I would cut for it though. It would probably be a spell slot and not a land slot, because I don't think you can afford to have less actual lands in the deck. Like, it's already so bare bones.
Yeah.
But I could see maybe cutting one of the less relevant spells, like Grape Shot. Grape Shot's pretty worthless.
Were there any overperformers or underperformers that kind of stick out?
Echo of Eons was amazing. What else? Electro was really, really good. Tavern Scoundrel.
Which is the new Spider-Man card, right?
Yeah.
Bergie.
It's Bergie-esque. It's double red instead of single red. It preserves your red mana between turns. You get a red mana whenever you cast an instant or sorcery. And then the bottom is whenever he leaves the battlefield, you can pay X to deal X damage to target player. That's not relevant. The important stuff is you save your red between turns, and he gives you red when you cast spells. Yeah, Tavern Scoundrel was good too. I just got lucky on some coin flips. It's always a good card. Recoup was actually a standout for me quite often. I had several games where I had to recoup a wheel to keep going. If you don't know, recoup is target sorcery card in your graveyard gets flashback until end of turn. With Ral in play, it only costs 1 red. But yeah.
Alright, then with that in mind, let's start going over the rounds.
Yep. So round 1. I don't actually have the decks here that I played against. I don't think deck lists are live either, so I don't super remember. So this game, I won on turn 5. It was a little bit tough. From what I remember, it was seats 3 and 4 both played a Ragavan early and couldn't really attack into anyone because everyone had a blocker. I played Ral turn 1, so they didn't really want to attack me. I went off a little bit, but I came up like just short with 4 spell casts, and then I couldn't continue. So I did something that might be controversial to other Ral people. I chose to flip, even though I couldn't ultimate the Ral. I don't know how you feel about doing that, but my gut intuition on that is that it's almost always incorrect. You should probably just leave the Ral on the front side so you can try again on a later turn. But in this case, it was fine because, little known fact, the backside of Ral's -2 is 2 damage split however you want. So basically, I flipped the Ral and killed both of the Ragavans. And then the Ral still had like, what was it, like 4 or 5 loyalty, something like that. After that, I kind of was feeling like I was gonna die, but it went around the table and some other people like tried to win the game. I sandbagged a Fierce Guardianship until the person before me. They played a Wheel of Fortune, and I think there was like a Bowmaster or a Tithe in play or something. And I Fierce Guardianshipped it into Past in Flames, cast a bonus round that was in my graveyard, cast Solve the Equation in my graveyard to get J-Will and Intuition, and then I played...
I gotta say this real quick.
Yeah.
I love bonus round.
Yeah.
I love bonus round. The fact that you get to... So for those of you who don't know, bonus round is like, once you've cast it, you've now doubled all of the rest of your spells.
Yeah.
And especially when you have a deck that can like double cast bonus round, every single time you do that, you're just like doubling and doubling and doubling all your spells.
Yeah.
And so when you get like 16 copies of Jessica's Will, there's no shot you're losing that game.
Yeah.
It's just such a disgusting card. Ral makes such good effective use of it, especially turning it from a 3-mana spell to a 2-mana spell. Oh,
Yeah.
I love seeing that card.
In this particular instance, too, it was just like so disgusting because the double Solve the Equation getting J-Will and Intuition, and then Intuition doubles. Like, I got so much mana, it was unfair. And basically, it chained into cast Jessica's Will. I think it was getting me 7 mana or something, and then I just reiterated for infinite mana, exile my deck, and they died. It's one of the more, I wouldn't call it the more common win lines, but it's one of the best ones, is Jessica's Will and Reiterate. But yeah, flipped the Ral early, didn't ever have to ultimate it, I just won the Manual Storm way. Game 2 was rough.
That's like maintaining everything. Yeah.
Game 2 was, let's pull it up actually. I was going third. Seat 1 was an Atali. Seat 2 was a Tayam. I was seat 3, and seat 4 was a Lumra. So 2 Stacks players and Atali going first. Hold on, my headphones are annoying me.
I got you. Yeah, having 2 Stacks players in your pod, especially when you're like a turbo deck, or I mean, especially a manual storm deck, where so many of your pieces are redundant, and you don't really have like a plethora of spells or removal spells. Like, someone puts 2 Stacks pieces down, and now you know you're either losing or you're going to be in L for the next fucking 90 minutes because the game's going to take forever.
That was one of the things we identified really quickly. Is the game was kind of a crapshoot, and we all talked about it from the beginning. Like, I don't think I was the first one to propose it, but everyone was like, "Do we want to just intentionally draw this round, like before we even start?" And my response to that was, like, "Listen, I'm playing a fast deck. Like, I can't agree to a draw without even playing. I didn't come here to not play, so
yeah."
Maybe we'll play a couple of turns, but just so you guys know, like, I'm open to it if this game turns into a slog fest.
I think that for you, it's like the greatest benefit because of all those decks, you are the fastest.
Yeah.
So if you go for it and you get stuffed, or if like for whatever reason they don't play out their stacks pieces, the table is so blue light, like you don't need to worry about counter spells. It's literally just, do they have a stacks piece that is relevant to you?
Yes.
If not, you will kill them on turn 2 or 3. If you don't kill them on turn 2 or 3, then it's probably a draw anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's really important to recognize that type of situation.
Absolutely.
Which you have more leverage.
It's also why I was, like, kind of prepping the table from the very beginning. Like, I'm not saying that I won't take a draw, but I'm open to it if this gets bad. Funny interaction there was the Lumra player going after me in turn order said to me, just so you know, my deck plays a lot of land destruction effects, and if you don't take the pre-game draw, I'm going to strip mine lock you out of the game. And my response to that was, you do what you gotta do. And I played.
As it should be.
We talked about it afterwards. He, like, apologized for it, but I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, you're in fourth seat and you're playing a really slow deck. I understand trying to leverage to get a draw. That game was scuffed, so the Tiem player had a Gemstone Caverns, and then on their turn went Ancient Tomb Archon of Emeria. And I was just like, fuck this shit. I'm so dead. As soon as he played it, I was basically saying, let's draw. We went around a couple more turns, and it got really, really bogged down. Italy played, like, a bunch of big, stupid things like Wandering Archaic and stuff like that. But this is where the intuition thing I was mentioning before came up, where Tiem had a Agatha Soul Cauldron that had exiled a Pulse Mage Advocate. And if you guys don't know what Pulse Mage Advocate is, let me look it up for you real quick. My god, this card. 2 and a white for 1/3. Tap, return 3 target cards in an opponent's graveyard to his or her hand. Return target creature card from your graveyard to play. So anytime we could kill the Archon of Emeria, he could use any of his creatures with a counter on it to reanimate it at instant speed. So this is where Intuition was really funny, because I kept casting Intuition basically like every turn, so that I would be the only person with 3 cards in my graveyard, and he just kept putting all of them back in my hand. It was really, really funny.
God damn.
Before it got too bad, though, it already was a draw. We all basically said, like, this game is so scuffed, I want to draw, and we went from there. Tiem did actually end up winning. Like, we played the rest of the game out for fun, and, like, there was no way Tiem wasn't winning that game. But, yeah.
Yeah. The problem is that for Tiem to win, it's going to take so long.
Yeah.
So long. Because I'm sure that if you play that game out, like, for real, and you do, like, slow, grindy matchup, the odds that you make it, that the Tiem wins within those 90 minutes, to me, it feels like it's so low. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure the game went quicker because you played casually. Mm-hmm. But, like, in a real setting, you guys would just be there forever.
We absolutely would have. Mostly because if we didn't agree to a draw, I think everyone would have taken it a lot more seriously. We were kind of just, like, breezing through things and memeing for a little bit after we accepted the draw. But I would have probably been tanking a little harder on my Intuition piles if I actually needed to get rid of what Tiem was doing. or have countered the Agatha's Soul Cauldron. That was an option as well. So, yeah, it was a draw. It was leveraged into a draw, but, you know.
But I think you played it correctly. Like, you identified that you have the best chance of winning in the early game, and that the likelihood of a draw was so high if you don't win. It's like, it's all upside. You're either winning or you're drawing.
Yeah.
You're never losing. You're almost never losing.
Absolutely. I actually need to... Okay, so round 3 is actually kind of an interesting one. And I think you're probably going to agree with what I did. But we have seat 1, Kinnan. Seat 2, Zur the Enchanter. Seat 3 was... I don't remember. I don't think they were particularly relevant. It might have been Blue Farm. Actually, I think it was Blue Farm. And then me in seat 4. I had to mulligan to 4. Or no. Sorry, that was the next round. I had a really good, really explosive start. But so did Kinnan. And basically the entire game was Kinnan going for a thing and having a lot of mana, but not quite getting there. And then me, like, going balls to the wall, slamming everything I have. Had, like, I think by the end of the game I had 16, 18 mana in play. But I just kept getting stopped. And the game devolved into, right after I got stuffed for the 3rd time, the Kinnan player goes after me, and he has Hullbreaker Horror that he casts into starting to chain infinite mana, but I have Mystic Remora in play. So he's sequencing things, and he's like, I want to present a loop to make infinite mana, and I was like, okay, well I have a Remora, so I'm going to make you do it. And he was like, okay. So he starts doing it with a Mox Amber and a Soul Ring. So he plays Mox Amber, bounces Soul Ring, I draw, and then he casts Soul Ring and I mental misstep it. So he can't go back and forth on the chain. So instead of continuing with that, he casts another spell, bounces my Remora, but it's a trophy mage, he's going to get Basalt to get infinite mana that way. In response to that, I Red Blast the Hullbreaker Horror after playing like 2 rituals, just to get it out of the way. And then I think it was Tybalt's Trickery, the Basalt Monolith that he got later. Basically stuff him. He has like 2 cards left in hand. He passes turn to a Zur that had Zur in play. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think we wheeled a couple times, and all of Zur's good win cons were in the graveyard. So he doesn't really have much. He attacks with Zur and gets like Phyrexian Unlife. Nothing relevant. Goes to the next player's turn, which actually I remember now, it was Blue Farm, who has a loaded graveyard and casts Underworld Breach.
Nice.
Zur casts Force of Will, counters it. The Blue Farm player had like nothing left in hand. He was pretty spent from stopping me. So it gets countered and goes to graveyard. Then the Zur player says, well, I have this silence. And the Kinnan player is advocating pretty heavily to cast the silence in my upkeep, so I can't win. And I don't have an answer for it. I had the win if he doesn't silence me. But he has it. And I say, well, hey, listen, if you silence me, then Kinnan's just going to win. Because I can't really stop anything, you know. He has a 1 ring with like 4 counters on it. He's just going to draw and win the game. I offer, hey guys, listen, this is a little scuffed. I feel like the most fair thing to do here is like, if you silence me, then Kinnan wins, and if you don't silence me, I'm gonna go for it and I'm gonna win. Do we want to just like draw? And the Zur player and the Blue Farm player are kind of okay with it, and the Kinnan player is saying no, Like, he's not saying no, but he's definitely not acknowledging it. And when I, like, call him out on it, he's basically like, well, if he casts silence, then, you know, I don't care. I'm not going to accept the draw. Situations like that are kind of weird. So I feel like in those positions, like, if you're the first person to push and someone has known interaction that would stop you, it's kind of hard to be the one that's like, I don't want to accept the draw, when you know it's like your best possible EV, because if you do push, you're going to get stopped and someone else is going to win. I don't know, draws are very toxic.
Yeah, for specifically those situations.
Yeah, it ended with us.
I think it's.
Yeah.
But you got to do what you got to do. So it's like.
It ended with a draw. Like, the Zur player was like not wanting to silence me, but the Kinnan player wasn't accepting the draw. So like, he let me cast a Burgie, and as soon as I cast the Burgie, the Kinnan player was like, wait, I want the draw actually. So. You know, we did a draw. Yeah. We ended on a draw on that one. I was trying to figure out if I could win over the top of a silence, but I couldn't if Burgie didn't resolve. So it was on the stack, and he was like, I'm going to cast a silence if we don't draw here. So that's what happened. Next. Man, this one made me mad. Round 4. I was against one of the guys that ended up top 4ing, and I had to mulligan to 4. The hand was good at 4. I think it was like a Remora.
I gotta say, it's such a heartbreaker, especially when you're going first, to be on a low mull.
Yeah.
After when, like, what? Last 2 rounds were 3rd, 4th.
Yeah, round 1 was first, then I went 3rd, 4th, and now I'm going first. It was a low mull. I did what I... Oh, no. You know what it was? It was a turn 2 wheel. I think that's what it was. It was like land mana into Ral wheel, or whatever. It went around a bunch. Melvin was playing Vivi, and he had a pretty explosive start of, like, I think it was turn 1 Vivi into turn 2, like, swap its power and toughness and, like, play a bunch of stuff, but he didn't play a ton, which kind of read as bricked up, lots of interaction, but nothing, like, proactive to do. Went to Sisay, they played, like, a Bloom Tender and a bunch of mana, and a Sisay. Goes to my turn, and I had the win with like 3 pieces of interaction, but the Sisay player and Melvin were able to stop me with like Pact of Negation, Red Blast, Bowmaster, and Legolas's Quick Reflexes on like a mana dork.
Jesus Christ.
So it was just like a lot of things that like barely stuffed me, and then it went around the table. Melvin couldn't do anything. He was like, no cards in hand, and he Pact of Negationed one of my spells. It went to Sisay's turn, and he just like creamed us.
That sucks.
Yeah, there's not much to say about it besides that. It was just low mulligan, went for it anyways, got stopped.
Yeah, and I mean, they needed all those pieces. Like, you do.
Yeah. And then the person going second was just, like, not in the game, I don't think. They didn't really do anything.
The classic win after the fact type situation.
No. I actually just remembered why. It was a Lumra player, and they went turn 2, like, LED, Mox Diamond, crack everything to cast a Lumra, and it got Mind Break trapped.
Oh!
That's why he didn't do anything.
Filthy.
But yeah, round 5. I was
okay, there you
first.
go.
So thank God. The hand was pretty good. It was seat 1 Remora and Ral turn 1. The blue farm player going second, mulligan to 3, so not great. Seat 3 was Gwenum, the mono blacklist, and then seat 4 was Sisay. Quite a bit of Sisay this tournament. It was not an easy game at all, because the Remora didn't draw many cards and I had to let go of it early. The blue farm player kept exactly like land Soul Ring and then land Ristic Study. And then everyone obviously fed the shit out of it because he was on a multi 3. Which is a thing I think more people need to be aware of. Like, just because someone mulligans to 3, if they've played mana and played Aristic, they're kind of still just a threat. Like, you undo their mulligan in one go around the table.
You gotta be so careful about that, like putting someone at card parity after they've put a bunch of mana into play.
Yes. Which, it's just a Soul Ring, but like Soul Ring is 2 mana. He could develop a lot of stuff. Especially with a bunch of cards. So I can't really push. I get stopped on a couple little things here and there, but I play out like an Electro and Runaway Steamkin. Like, I have things that generate mana in play, but I don't actually have enough to like do the push. Until I get... I don't remember exactly how, but I got a... Oh, no, I just drew it. I drew a Echo of Eons. But unfortunately, it was right after the Sisay player before me played a Smothering Tithe. So casting a wheel would be into blue farm with like a bunch of cards in hand, Gwenum who had nothing, and then a Smothering Tithe from Sisay. Notably, Sisay did not have their commander in play though. So it wasn't just like suicide.
Yeah, that would be straight up suicide.
But yeah, basically I end up being able to cast Echo of Eons for 5, and then draw a bunch of stuff, get a bunch of mana, flashback the Echo of Eons after I dump my hand again, and get more cards. And then after that one, the Sisay player finally draws a Bowmaster and plays it. She played a Crop Rotation into the Ristic trigger and then held priority to play the Bowmaster to try and kill off things that made my mana. But unfortunately for them, at this point, the thing that had happened most recently was I cracked Ral with exactly 8 counters. So that was like on the stack when she was able to do that. Because the thing that flipped Ral was the flashbacked Echo. And then from there, it's like, if anyone who's played against Ral, you know that once Ral gets the ultimate one time, the game is probably over. Not literally.
Yeah, because you just get a brand new hand for free.
Yeah. And then you're probably getting another Ral into another ultimate. So it's just like disgusting. But yeah. There's not much to... I feel like talking about a lot of these games, I'm kind of breezing over like the technical play of what I did. But Ral is very, very samey. It's play Ral, play thing that gives you mana, like cast a bunch of spells. Eventually they die.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the deck you're playing is a manual Storm deck, and when you're going through those types of lines, like, if anyone has ever played like modern Gift Storm, the deck is very consistent because so many of the pieces are redundant, and when so many pieces are redundant, it creates this similar game plan pretty much every time you sit down. You sit down and it's basically, I have Ral. Okay, after I cast Ral and I have mana up, I'm going to start casting my 1 mana draw 2s. Exile my top 2 cards, I can play them until end turn. And now you're just trying to piece together, what are you lacking? Am I lacking mana? Or am I lacking cards?
Right.
And then as you navigate that, that's where you understand, like, all right, if I'm this close, do I need more mana here or there? Do I need to float blue? What am I looking for? And it's really that is the gist of the deck, and the technical play really comes from how to choose your window, and then also how to navigate around whatever pieces of hate or whatever interaction you feel is at the table.
Right.
That comes with so much nuance of play. So I get why you would be like kind of going over a little bit of it.
Yeah, maybe we can like run a mulligan or two at the end to just kind of show like how these games kind of went for me. But it really is very, very. It's not easy, but it is simple when you look at like the game mechanics of what are happening. But anyways, if we look at standings, that got me 12 points out of 5 rounds. There was a pretty unnaturally high amount of draws for the standings. Like you see, there's people with 9 points, 8 points, 7. 8 was the bubble for top cut. We actually had 2 people drop from top 16. They made 15th and 16th place, and they wanted to leave. So they filled in with 2 people that were lower in standings.
I'm surprised because you guys started pretty early, no?
There was a slight issue with parking. So the venue that this was at had like planned out what spots were available for parking on the day of, and the big issue was there's like a Denny's next door that was like had an active tow truck that if you parked over there they would tow you like immediately. So the owners of the store were trying to like make sure no one got towed, and there was a last minute issue where one of the spots they thought was okay turned out to not be okay, and like the owner of that place was like, if you park here we're gonna tow you. So we had to like figure out where to get people's cars. We probably got started around like 10:30, 10:45.
Which is really good. Cause like, I mean, I know that we start ours 12:1. In South Florida, it's like 12:1. Just running that early, usually you don't run into those problems, but
yeah,
is what it is.
I mean, we were done with everything at I want to say like 9:20, 9:30, but that's because we split top 4. Spoiler alert. But the last game I played was top 16. It was second seat. Person going first was on Sisse, then me, then Melvin on Vivi, who I was mad at because he had 2 interaction pieces in 3 cards in his hand to stop me. How dare you? And then Raymond, who was the Kinnan player from the game that was kind of scuffed with Zur that got force drawn. My hand was a mulligan to 6. It was a disgusting mulligan to 6. I'm gonna pull it up 1 second. Okay, so the hand was Gemstone Caverns, card that doesn't matter because I pitched it to Gemstone. Rite of Flame, Jessica's Will, LED, Wheel of Fortune. So what I did is Gemstone, and then like a land. Somewhere in that. So I Gemstone Caverns, pitch card, play Rite of Flame, play Ral turn 1. Goes around the table. Melvin plays like Thundering Falls and Mox Amber, so he doesn't have any mana open. And then Kinnan plays like land, Lotus Petal, Kinnan. The Sisse player before me played Bayou, pitch Elvish Spirit Guide, put a Wild Growth on it, and then Demonic Tutor. Gets the Sisse player's turn, they say, oh shit, I fucked up, and they don't play a second land, and they pass turn. And then I went Jessica's Will.
I actually know Giovanni too, so that's fucking rough.
Yeah. I felt bad about it, but he thought that he had a land that tapped for blue in his hand for a Rhystic Study. That's what he demonic tutored for. But he did not. So anyways, I cast Jessica's Will. Then I cast Wheel and held priority cracked LED for red. Oh, no, it was for blue. Because I already had, 4 or 5 red floating. And I'm going to see. I sent Jordi a picture of it, but I won. No one had any interaction. And it turns out that when you Jessica's Will, getting 3 cards off the top into 7 fresh cards, you're just going to win. No one wheeled into any interaction. So it was pretty clean from there.
Yeah, it makes sense. Jessica's Will just gives you all the mana and all the cards, and then you flip Ral.
Yeah.
Or you wheel, and you just get everything you need.
Yeah, for sure. Turn 2 win, I was done in probably 5 minutes into top 16 and then stood around for an hour. Actually, almost 2 hours, because the other top 16 pod went to the full 2-hour time limit. But yeah, that's basically it. Top 4, we were going around because it was getting late already. We wanted to split and just take it from there. We figured out a good prize split that everyone was happy with. Part of that was Hummingbird getting the top deck points, so that's why he's listed as the winner here. But we were all cool with it otherwise. Just wanted to go home.
Okay. When it comes to this tournament, I remember we were talking about it. My feeling on tournament Magic right now is that you want to be running more turbo, you want to be faster.
Yeah.
And so we talked about it, and I was saying, I feel like Breach, I can't play without Breach right now. I think it's almost like a must include in your deck if you want to be going for wins. Based off of this tournament, how would you feel about that analysis? Do you think that it's changed? Do you feel like being slower is still fine? Do you feel like mid-range is still good?
So, I think my opinion is it's not so much that you need to be on turbo. To me, it feels more like you need to be able to capitalize when you have a window. Sitting there and grinding is fine. If you, Blue Farm, for instance, is a really good example. Blue Farm is totally fine if it doesn't have a win to just sit there and get more value. But Blue Farm is also usually pretty good at saying, I can Demonic Tutor or 1-card win con into going for it right now, if that's what the game dictates. That ability, I feel like, is crucial, and it's one of the reasons that I think one of the reasons I think that Underworld Breach is the premier win con, because most stages of the game, other than exactly turn 1 or 2, Breach is going to be able to get you there. All it takes is Breach with a gamble in your graveyard, and you're good to go. Decks that don't have red, I feel have a much harder time doing that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, not necessarily turbo, but red it feels pretty crucial right now.
As far as the meta that you saw here, I know you went over a couple of the decks. Did it feel slower? Did it feel faster? No.
We can look
what
at
were you really
seeing
out there?
So we had 9 Blue Farm, 4 Sisay, 5 Dog Thras, 3 Rog Thras, 2 Rogsai, a couple VVs, a couple Kinnins, Italis. The meta felt pretty diverse. Obviously, there's a lot of Blue Farm, and it's going to be that way in basically every tournament you go to.
Yeah.
There was a reason.
For me, I'm looking, and I'm looking at what you were saying, where you need a deck that's going to capitalize. And what I'm seeing is TNK, Rogsai, great conversion rates. I'm seeing Rog Thras, also the same thing. More than likely, they're Breach, or their infinite mana combos can win on the same turn that you get them. But I'm seeing that top the decks that have done well are the faster decks. And then as we go down, I'm trying to see Time near the bottom, Zuladak, What an animal playing Zul'Doc down there. Petramos. Shadow, I feel like, is a little bit of a trap.
Yeah.
Hadim, Dr. Nick showed up.
He sure
I love seeing Dr. Nick around. And then Flubs. I'm actually surprised to see Flubs so low, but I think it's just a consistency issue with that deck.
Yeah. This is kind of what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that it's necessarily the speed of a deck, because Flubs is obviously a very, very fast deck if it gets off the ground quickly. But Flubs is not a deck that can capitalize very well if it gets stopped. Like, if they kill the Flubs or, hamper you a little bit too much, the deck just doesn't have the window. You may have to, play Flubs and then pass.
Yeah. Actually, I very much agree with you. Like, basically everything from the Lotho, Tayam, Zur line down, they all have, issues winning.
Yeah. Obnix.
Because, Grass TNT is basically board presence / you're playing 2-card Monty. Atrax is just like TNT, but you're not really on infinite mana stuff.
Right.
Or the same type of infinite mana stuff.
Yeah.
Stella Lee's pretty good at capitalizing.
But not without the commander.
If it gets a window, yeah, the problem is that you need your commander in play and you need it to be able to tap. So
it's kind of my biggest problem with Stella Lee. Whenever I see, we have a player here, Ethan, that plays it all the time. And one of the biggest issues with it is if Stella Lee's dead, you have 2 turns. You go around the table, he goes to his turn, he has to play Stella, or he literally can't win. Goes around the table again, now he's ready to go. So you guaranteed, see 2 turns if Stella dies.
Yeah, and then every deck above pretty much, doesn't have to worry about that. Lumra's kind of a weird one, but Lumra and Natali are kind of in that same kind of sphere. You get a good hit off your Lumra or a good hit off your Natali, and you're chilling.
Yeah. I would call these the high roll decks. When I see these win games, it's because they had a really, really strong start into overwhelming advantage. But they're also very frail in the sense that, like I said earlier with Lumra, it got hit by a Mindbreak trap that one game. He would have been in a dominating position if Lumra resolved, but because it didn't, he just has no chance the entire game. Atali sometimes can be very similar, where you dump all of these resources into getting your Atali, and then they Mindbreak trap it or Force of Will it or whatever, and you're basically out of the game for at least 5 or 6 turns.
Yeah, makes sense.
What else? I saw a decent number of Green Goblins. Actually, I think one of the decks that I said was Blue Farm was actually Green Goblin. Not super impressed with that deck. It really feels like they're too all in on having an LED and a Green Goblin, and then you need a wheel or something on top of it. It's just a lot of asks for not much payoff.
Yeah. Basically, we talked about this too before, just privately, but when you're playing Grixis Core, you really need to ask yourself, why am I not playing Roxai?
Yeah.
And I don't feel like Green Goblin is great at capitalizing on the breach side of Green Goblin. I don't think it's great at creating an advantage with the Norman Osborn side.
Right.
So, if you want to be able to make a better advantage, probably go to Kefka. I know that Tevish Krom is kind of falling out of favor, but that's kind of in the same vein.
Yeah.
And then if you want to be faster, you just go Roxai.
For sure.
Because when you're adding so many pieces just to make your commander work, I just don't feel like it's really worth it.
Yeah. Just for instance, on this list here, if you look around, we're playing Fervent Mastery. Oh, it's going to... I'm just going to go to the original source. Hold on. 404, he deleted it. Okay. So, we're playing Fervent Mastery. It's, 4 mana bad triple gamble, kind of, but then, you discard the cards and Green Goblin lets you play them. we're playing like Frantic Search and like Tolarian Winds and all these like cards that by themselves are really not that good. He was playing Pumpkin Bomb.
I'll be honest, I think Frantic Search is like the least egregious of all of them.
Right. But like Brass
it's really like
Tunnel Grinder and
yeah, like what are we really doing here? You're putting all these cards in your deck to make your commander work, instead of your commander just being like a really solid game plan to back up to, or a piece that's going to make your game plan work better.
Right. Yeah, like Careful Study, like straight up 1 blue, draw 2, discard 2. It makes sense that like you can do this, and with Green Goblin in play, you can play like your 2 mana rocks that you discarded for free. But it's just like I'm not a fan.
Is that what you want to be doing? You know what I mean? Like, it's cool.
Maybe if Goblin wasn't 4 mana, maybe if it was like 3 or 2, but I feel like it'd be broken at 3 or 2.
I just think that this deck, I don't want to like shit on this guy's deck list specifically, but I feel like when you look at Green Goblin and Norman, I think you should just stick as close to Grixis Core as you can, and have like maybe a couple pieces that really feed into the Green Goblin side of things.
Yeah.
And just like you're looting because it's still a cheap commander, but you have a little bit more card selection than Rockside. Like that's the draw.
Yeah.
Like maybe you don't get the advantage, but you have like a real an interesting backside, and then you also have like more card selection without sacrificing too much speed. Like that might be the angle you want to hit it from. But when you're contributing so many pieces to this game plan that's not consistent, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just try to be more consistent. You're in the best color combination for this format. So.
Yeah. My thought is, if you're gonna play Green Goblin, you need to be playing like a little bit differently. Like most of the people I see playing it are not playing their commander until they can play the backside of it. I honestly feel like the thing that it would be good at is playing the front side, getting it a little bigger and getting the selection, and then when you flip, it's because you're already set up and you're using it like an Underworld Breach.
Yeah.
And if you're not really doing that, Rockside just answers all of the questions better.
At the very least, it asks questions better too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that's basically it. Do you have any other thoughts any questions about any of this stuff?
I think we covered it pretty well. I think we covered the metagame that we looked at. We covered kind of what decks we think are going to be performing well in the future. Covered the list. We covered why you wanted to be in, and then we covered your rounds. So I think that we've accomplished everything we set out to accomplish. And if anyone has any questions, I'm sure they can reach out to us.
Obviously, yeah. Absolutely. Alright, guys. Thank you for tuning in and listening to me ramble about random game actions. And we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.